We weren't taught to understand the power of love. Going back generations, we fucked up our parents' expectation. They beat us but never considered the lack of foundation we were given. As humans, it's in our nature to cry when we're upset. How quickly our minds are reset to think that emotions make us weak, to speak on our feelings or bottle them up. The latter is chosen. Please pass the red cup. Underage drinking. St. Ides Old English 211s on reserve with 211s in progress mimicking the behaviors we observed. Throw up the set. Neighborhood and Pyru crossfire in the night flashes with silhouette. To make you forget, it never occurred to us that survival mode was injected like poison into our veins. Numbing the pain, we break it down and roll it up in a swisher that just so happens to taste like candy. These little girls drop their panties for love and affection not expressed by their daddy to these grown-ass men that were never taught what it truly means to be manly. I come from a place where single mothers work hard to care and provide, but are shoved to the side and left to decide to attempt suicide with their kids in the home, who grow up to be motionless bodies left in the street, like trash and debris. How could this be? Pick up the books and shut off TVs. Embrace the children and show them reality into the future. You can foresee that this is not their legacy. Thank you. And I wrote this one like last year, 2 years ago. So I titled it Ku'uwipu, which is Hawaiian for sweetheart. Yeah. He called you nothing when I knew you could have been the world. Just a pearl or grape. You stem from the sweetest of tastes. Undetermined, your essence would have grown with age. Pros and cons were laid out onto the table or bed and presented themselves. Money, time, and her were the determinants within ourselves. I'm sorry for my mistake. Irresponsibility and the choice to partake with a snake. Slithering between the sheets while I was well aware of the possibility that you'd arrive. My breast tender to the touch. I've wanted this, but he felt it was a game of double dutch. I would jump in as he stood aside. I tried to get him inside, but his pride wouldn't let him. I supplied everything he could ever need, but indeed we agreed that I would bleed. And through the process, he would be freed of the bondage of you and me. With we, he would have felt trapped and caged, but with we, as in just you and I would have waged a war within myself to care and provide for you. We would never need him and his beloved money. We would only need each other. But I began to question if I would follow in the footsteps of my mother. With all intentions good, how long would it take for me to break and feel lonely? If only I didn't want the best for you and your well-being. I told myself, I wanted you to have the both of us, and I knew that you couldn't. I shouldn't have been so selfish, and I'm left with regret. But the threat of you being his was too much to bear, and I'm upset. As I stood in the office hearing people congratulate me, I already knew what the decision was. But as I began to consider the future, I could see you there, at my graduation, in a place of our own, with those I hold close. I mentioned it. And indeed, he took it as a threat. He began to sweat and told me I was like her and wanted to force him into debt. He never wanted you, or me for that matter. His narcissistic ways would leave my brain scattered, telling me he has no sympathy to give, and I never wanted that for you. Emotional, I sat at the head of the bed, and he wouldn't even comfort me, just ridicule. So, I laid back with tears running down my cheek. So you're pregnant and you don't want to be. We can take care of that. Whimpering, I responded yes as they injected my arm with a cool liquid. Everything was so vivid until I woke up. Everything is over now. You're no longer pregnant. Would you like to sit up? Thank you.